Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Hey everyone, welcome to Dystopia Tonight. I'm super pumped for this episode. One of my favorite voice actors of all time, who voices one of my favorite characters of all time, Nightcrawler on X-Men 97. He's also an incredible actor who's got a wide range of films. Adrian Hough is with us. How you doing, man?
Hey, nice to meet you. I love your intro, by the way. I'm going, I actually haven't seen the whole intro before, so it's wild.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Can I tell you something about that intro, which is crazy, is that
Please.
for the longest time, I was like, I'm going to have to eventually update it because time has passed. You know what I mean? This is like, I started this show during COVID and in Trump era, and now because we're going backwards, I don't have to touch it. It's great.
Yeah, everything old is new again.
Yes, exactly. It's unfortunately works out for me, not everybody else so much, but it's fucking terrible. But thank you. I appreciate you liking the intro, man. It's you know what I used to do? I think it used to scare the shit out of guests too, who didn't know what this was and what I was doing because, what is this? So like they just kind of would see that thing at the end and be like, oh no, what the fuck? I could just see their face in the bottom corner of the thing, like, oh, get my agent. I shouldn't be here.
Well, I saw Cal obviously, and then I saw Tim Matheson, I think, and I got to look at him. I think we worked on something together like years ago. I had a small part in some TV movie he was in. I don't know. I could be wrong. Awesome. I just remember meeting him before and I thought, oh, okay, well, it's probably okay.
Yeah.
So, it'll probably be fine.
That's the greatest thing about like just building and having everybody on and stuff like that. I think now at this point, I mean, we still try to get like different guests and stuff like that too. And it's not always easy getting through people's management and stuff like that. But I think just because of, like you just said, you see your friends on there, you see people you've worked with, it's like word of mouth. It just gets to the point where it's a lot easier now. So that's a nice little bonus of sticking around for a bit. But yeah, in the very beginning, man, it was like, what is this? Who is it? Dystopia? I don't want to. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then other people would just throw caution to the wind and be like, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. It's COVID. I have nothing to do. So, but thanks. Yeah. So a couple things that I didn't even, congratulations, because you guys got nominated for an Emmy, which was super cool.
We did.
Yeah. Did you guys get nominated in 92 for the 92 series?
No, I mean, I don't remember. I worked 2 afternoons in the 90s on the show. So it was literally my first animated audition. I'd done a couple of voiceovers, like, frozen concentrated orange juice with a very slight, and I was in Toronto where I was at the time. I was starting to get known as the accent guy, and I'd played a few Germans on drama documentary type things where I have long German monologues and things like that. And so my agent joined forces with a voice agent and who went, do you have anyone who can do a German accent? I mean, they've been trying to find this character on this Project X, and they keep on bringing in these Colonel Klink guys, and it's just we want someone who's like really genuine, heartfelt. And well, there's Adrian, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting in a studio, and I get those sides. And for whatever it was, wherever I was, like creatively and emotionally at the time, the script made entire sense to me. And I'd picked up the most recent German accent for one of these drama documentaries where I play this German soldier who talks about the soldiers coming across towards us, but he was from Berlin, but he had this very light accent, and it was very soft all the time. And I went, oh, that's this guy. And it's just like one of those quick kind of, and then the script just kind of did the rest. And I just literally wrote, it just felt like flying, and finished it. And Dan Hennessy, who is the voice director, who's got like this Robert Plant hair, he's behind the glass. And at first he's like, yeah, go ahead. And then afterwards he's like looking at me going, he's a very passionate guy. And I went, yeah. Want to do it again? Sure. And I did a second take. The next thing I know, I'm in the studio with Cal Dodd and Lenore Zan and Norm Spencer, may he rest in peace, was also there. It's just wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was one of those things where I think the only time I had ever heard Nightcrawler's voice, aside from the 2 episodes that you did, were in the like really quick pilot for one that was like God, in I don't know if it was in the 80s or early, or if it was like 88 or 89 or something like that, but I was like 5 maybe. That was the only other time I heard Nightcrawler's voice. So, and you kind of captured it so well. Also, not to even say, I'm surprised they've never thought of, or maybe they have, of casting you in it, because you've got the body type and the look. Like if you just had the blue, you know what I mean? It would be instant Nightcrawler. It'd be great.
It's a weird. I mean, I have been in the X-Men movies. I was in X-Men 3 playing Jean Grey's dad. I don't know if that was a wink from the producers or not, but I had to audition for it. I'm in this weird land in my career where you will see me pop up as like a guest star in something, or like a lead in a horror movie or something like that.
Right.
But I don't know how it works. I just know that I keep going, and every now and then the industry completely surprises me, either by stopping work for a year, or suddenly an amazing opportunity will come up. So I one of my superhero skills is magical thinking. So I've managed to stay in business and make a living at it for over 40 years now. And
that's incredible, dude.
Of course, Hal is only 2 years old, as you can tell.
No, but
did you always, I mean, we all get this kind of bug when we're younger, you know what I mean, from somebody, either in the family or just somebody you saw on TV. Which was it for you? Did you have people in your family who were in the entertainment industry, or did you see somebody on TV and go, that's for me?
Well, I was terrible at sports, and I was like awkward in my body, and I was going through this weird growth spurt. I think I was 11 years old. And this I don't want to make it too long. This is Reader's Digest version. And I got introduced to these Saturday morning classes, and I was in Toronto as a kid at the time. And my parents were very surprised, because they were supposedly for gifted kids, but we used to do these tests, and for some reason I scored well on the test, and we were all like, I don't know, gifted kids, I don't know. And so I go in there, and they have like geology, anthropology, history, and then they have mime and creative drama. And my mind went, oh, what's that? And the first thing we learned was like how to do the wall. And then suddenly my mind went, oh, this is magic. I can create illusion. I can create something other than this kind of sort of uncertainty of my 11-year-old self. And I just stuck with it. And when he moved on to the other portion of the class, I was still apparently stuck in the corner, like, pulling the ropes and, leaning. And then I started, and around 18, 19, I suddenly thought, I want to open my mouth and say stuff. But I was very shy about my voice. And, I'd been kicked out of choirs as a kid, all this kind of stuff that they used to do back then, they don't dare do now. And so, and I saw, I think it was, what was that movie? Donald Sutherland and Kate. Oh, gosh. Spy movie. Kate Nelligan.
Yeah.
And Kate Nelligan was full on British in this movie. And I went, wow, I want to do that. I don't want to sound Canadian. I don't want to sound American. I want to sound like a Brit. So I then went on this weird quest and I went to England for 10 years, studied drama there. And right after drama school, I just became obsessed with, my voice. And, I saw
Eye of the Needle.
Eye of the Needle. That's the one. Yeah.
That's it.
And the scene with the light bulb in his fingers and zapping him. Anyway, and of course, Donald Sutherland was always a favorite as well, who later I got to work with. But
nice.
yeah. But it was just, I think the thing for me was creating illusion. And
Mm,
that was what obsessed me about mime, and is what obsessed me about acting, because you can tell a story and create an illusion. It's kind of
yeah.
like this magic thing, magical thinking for me. So
But like for you to do that kind of thing, it's always funny. Like, do you know where it comes from? You know what I mean? Like, is there like I always wondered, and I don't think I ever asked any of the other voice actors I had on, so I'm putting you on the spot. But is
okay.
it? Do you? Yeah. Is it some? I mean, like, can you? Because there's sometimes when when you go to mimic something when you're younger, where
Yeah.
you just know you can do it. Like you hear it and you go, I think I can figure it out. There's other times if I was gonna do like if I was gonna mimic like Homer Simpson's voice, I don't think I did it that well until I saw Dan Castellaneta doing it, and I
Right.
realized he puts his tongue, on the roof of his mouth when he's doing Homer a bit, and then
Oh,
that
okay.
enhanced it. How do you discover like? Do you just hear it and go, "Oh no, I know exactly what I need to do to do it," or is it practice? Like, what is your method for that?
Right. Well, I thought that I wanted to be a British actor, so there I was, a little Canadian in London, and for a year after drama school, every morning I woke up and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced until I and and then of course you find out, well, there's not just one accent, there's a whole bunch of them. So I would just play around with them until, and because I was there, people would correct me, or people would call me out on certain pronunciations, and I'd go and I'd obsessively work on them. I don't know if I was a natural, but
Mm,
I had the drive to do it. And so that when part of Haytham Kenway came up, it was sort of normal. It made
right.
sense. And
Yeah.
I'd worked with Ian McKellen, and I'd worked with Patrick Stewart, I'd heard them close up, and watched and listened, and then you just start learning what shapes you can make and what the vocal mask is, and it was just
Right.
basically obsession. It's, you know,
That's
that's it. That's
that's
it.
the way to do it too. Do
Yeah.
you find that different accents like blend in with each other, like over time? Like if you're doing an Australian accent
Yeah.
and then an English accent, like there's stuff like that where it blends, or whatever. Like, does it ever fuck you up in your head when you're working on something like that, where you're like, oh, I just did one, I got to do the other? Is that sounding the same? Because the
Yeah.
words are so like, it's
Yeah.
such a like you said, people would call you out on different certain things.
Mm.
Is it hard to blend, to switch that stuff around, because they are kind of similar?
Yeah. I work at sort of manufacturing the little vocal masks, and
Mm.
then differentiating them. I remember the first time I found that, I was working with an Australian director, and I was a dialect coach for David Strathairn on
Oh wow.
the thing about the Miracle Worker,
Oh
and
wow.
so I was trying to coach him in a Southern dialect, in which I had, and the director kept on talking in an Australian accent, and I went, oh, I will learn that one too. And then the thing is, the placement for both an Australian accent and for a Southern
Hmm.
accent, they're sort of the same, right? Like, so
Right.
it's right in the center of the mouth, like right in the center of the mouth, right? So then that was when I first, oh no, I've got to differentiate those ones too. And
Yeah.
that's actually this. Once I got the Australian, that's how I learned a South African, because like an Australian accent, it's right in the center of the mouth. If you take all those sounds and you put them in the front of your teeth, you get a Southern, like a South African accent. And so,
That is amazing, because I think that is probably the hardest one to mimic. I've seen people try to mimic like Trevor Noah and stuff like that, or like whatever,
yeah,
and like it seems like the hardest one to do. But that was incredible. I've never heard anybody do it just off the top like that. Yeah.
party piece. It's a
Is there?
party piece. It's a party trick now. But yeah, there's different South African accents too. Like, there's like the one I tend to do that is like this Afrikaans, which is sort of Dutch
Mhm.
and sort of the board sort of thing. But like the other ones are sort of lighter, but you still have the forward placement. Anyway,
Yeah. Is there a
yes.
favorite?
Oh God. The favorite is usually the one I'm working on next.
Mm.
I've been asked, and I'm not going to do it now because it's not ready. But I've been asked to do A Child's Christmas in Wales for a Christmas concert in a local church, and to be
nice.
the narrator for it.
Wales is a guy,
which is Dylan Thomas, and so there's and actually I just got to meet John Rhys Davies at FanX Salt Lake, so I got to spend some time. Awesome. I was in a car with him, and he was just talking, and I put my little phone recorder on. Shame on me, but so you can hear. I just wanted to get those just so I can hear the tone, so I can have a reference.
Yeah.
But the Wales is sort of very musical, and that's but you have to be careful with that one, because you don't want to go over into like an Indian accent, or find out what the music is. Find the music, right. Find the placement. That's the one I'm working on most, but it's a lovely accent to listen to.
Do you find the accent thing, does it translate also into mimicking like musicians and the way people sing and do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, if I don't sing publicly. I mean, not. Okay. I mean, I'm not a singer.
You car sing,
but I do sing. But I'm not going to sing for you today. But I like to I do pretty good Neil Young. I'm not going to do it.
Ooh,
my voice is like I've had a
That's
cold
a great
for
one,
last
though.
week. So, yeah.
Southern, it's going around,
anyway.
Man.
Yeah, and David Gray I like as well. Like so.
David Gray is great,
isn't he? And but there's like. So I'm trying to figure out how to do certain like vocal compressions and stuff. And I just do it from listening and repeating, far too much spare time, obviously. But yes, the same thing. It's copying singing voices is another way to do it.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing too, because I know that some people who sing, like I have this band that I absolutely love from Australia, but their accent completely disappears, and it would just sound, whatever, maybe like a couple words like here and there or something like that, but otherwise, and then they kind of make fun of it. They're like, you don't want to hear anyone sing in Australian with an Australian accent. And I'm like, oh, maybe you're right. But that's the craziest thing too. Do you have like particular things? Are you picky about drinking, eating, like, and stuff like that, because you have to take care of your voice no matter what, obviously, as an actor, but now even more so because you have to switch in and off? Are you very strict with like what you're putting in your body?
I'm not. I'm pretty bad. That's actually some of the the new voices in the X-Men animated X-Men 97 have like, how can you still sound like dude Kurt from 30 years ago? And you're doing that, you're eating and you're smoking and whatever So
maybe that's the key.
Maybe that's the key. I just don't. I don't care. I just play with. It's
crazy. Yeah, you sound exactly the same. I mean, so most of the X-Men cast, you guys haven't lost the touch of doing it, and especially like Cal as Wolverine too. Like you guys sound exactly the same. And that's not often the case for people who've left something for that long. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I'm never going to do this again.
Yeah.
But you guys got to come back and do it, which is cool as shit.
There's a great scene in that new one that Cal goes, "Listen, lady, I got 6 reasons why." And then
I
no, mein Freund, 9. And then they have this epic sword fighting scene with all the Prime Sentinels.
Yeah.
It's just, that was the first thing they showed me, because I had to go back and do some grunts, like hitting the wall sounds and fight sounds. And so I was doing ADR and these little bits of movement. And I was like, wow, I have, this is amazing. And they're on a Zoom screen and they go, "Oh, you haven't seen any yet?" And I went, "No. Would you like to?" Yeah. And so we finished the things and they showed me that whole scene. And I'm watching this on a big screen in the studio, and they're on Zoom over there. And I swear, my hand went to my heart, because 30 years of my life was just suddenly echoing back into the present. And I had a little tear in the corner of my eye, and then part of my brain was going, "Oh my God, this is so unprofessional. I mean, just get yourself together." And then my gaze sort of leaned over to the screen just to make sure, and they were there like, they're like just full of glee. And that's when I realized that they were kids. Was their childhood they're getting to create further from their childhood favorite show, and that we were all sort of, they were so happy that I was appreciating their work, and it was just a wonderful moment. But
absolutely, man.
show kills, man. Oh god.
Yeah, my friends and I literally we watched we watched it when we were kids, and then when this came out, we just went on Discord, thanks COVID, and then streamed it all together. So we, now that we have the only silver lining to come out of COVID was everybody got to watch shit on the internet. So yeah, but we they were all living in different parts of the country, so we were like, oh yeah, we'll meet when it comes out or whatever, and we fucking lost our minds on that scene. And we're all like, I'm gonna be 40 in November. I should be in a tie and a suit doing something stupid.
Shame
but
on you. Yes.
I know. But like we were like, oh, that fucking like it was like all we talked about, because and not only that, like they've been able to do so much with the new show just because it's not hindered by Fox Kids. So to see Nightcrawler and Wolverine together doing that kind of stuff is great. Yeah. But to also see you guys actually fucking like, swords cutting shit up, like it was a great scene.
Yeah.
Did you know you were going to have like more than, like a bigger part in this series coming forward? Because I feel like they kept the characters pretty close to the vest who they were going to have.
Yeah. I did get, let's see, what can I say, which is not in, I did get a notion from the offer that he was going to be, more frequent. And so that sort of excited me, but also terrified me, because I remember they actually I tell this story a lot, but I my voice agent will kill me, but 5 years ago I wanted to be up for a big, it was Disney or some Pixar movie, and there's a part I think I knew I should be up for, and I said to my voice agent, I said, just tell them I was the Nightcrawler in the X-Men. And he goes, nobody cares about a 25-year-old cartoon, Adrian.
Wow.
And I went, okay, well, maybe he's right. And that, yeah, right. Well, but of course, 5 years went by, and everyone's, and then I got a somewhat, he's a great voice agent, Ralph. He's a great voice agent. But I get this sort of sheepish email from him saying that with the subtitle was, Adrian might recognize these lines. And that was how I read it. And then it was all the Nightcrawler episode lines, and I was like, oh my god, wow. Can I? I've sort of kept it in there. It's sort of like a rusty bike that's been sitting in the shed. It's a chain, oil the chain a little bit, and say, look in your heart, hey Logan. Okay, it's there. And so I laid it down again, and the next thing I knew, we were in studios alone, because they don't, it was COVID, right?
Sure, and they can't do that anymore. Yeah. Do you prefer to work that way, or do you like having the other actors in the room to kind of riff and bounce off of?
I like both. I do. We have a great voice director, Meredith, who is very good at sort of bringing you like the people's tones together, even though we're not in the recording at the same time. But those days back in the 90s, just to be standing next to Cal Dodd, and Lenore Zann with that amazing, croaky, beautiful, vibrant voice and personality, and then Norm Spencer, who's just like, other people tell better Norm stories than I do, but he was always kind of like teasing everyone. So is that how you're gonna do it? Is that how you're gonna do it? Yeah. And this, Cameron, who tells a story about how, like, it's Ron Rubin tells a story about how he and Norm were all trying to get this extra little part, because if you got to play the extra little part, you got paid extra. Anyway, it was and so Norm was always like competing, but he was just a super fun guy, and we hung out a little bit after the second time I was Nightcrawler. But
nice.
Anyway, you
guys got to be on like a text chain or something, right?
A what? Oh yeah, we have a couple of groups. We have
that's awesome.
We have the old guy groups, the old folk groups, and we've got the everybody groups.
Yeah.
And I think the new people have the new people group, and they call us Legacy Cast, which is
that's pretty fun.
I think it's kind of cute. I think it's cute.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's pretty great. Do you? I mean, it's got to be different nowadays, because like the fandom for everything, no matter what it is nowadays, is 10 times, I think, bigger than what was going on in the 90s, probably, right?
Yeah, Oh, yeah, we didn't know. We didn't
Oh.
know how popular it was. They were apparently going episode to episode, season to season, and they kept on
Mhm.
thinking, "Oh, it's canceled. Going to be canceled. It's going to be canceled." And they keep on bringing it back. But then later, I think it's Lenore tells the story that apparently there were hallways in Vox full of these great big mail bins full of fan mail. Right.
Wow.
But of course, they didn't say, well, let's forward them. They didn't forward them on or anything. So,
Oh.
but now it's like you click on the internet and if you go hashtag, I don't know, Nightcrawler, let's say, and you go, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, cosplayers and they
Oh my
love
God.
me. They really
You're
love me, you
yeah.
know. And, it's very heady stuff, actually. The convention circuit has opened up for me in the last year too.
Nice.
I'd done it a little bit after Assassin's Creed 3 came out, but I
Right.
did 3 or 4 and then that was it. But now, especially with the popularity of the show and the success and how good it is, that that I the people that I think the people that come to us individually tell us that we're their favorite, right? Because after a while, I have to tell you, don't tell the others, but you're my favorite. And they go, do you hear that, Evie? You hear that, Lenore? And
Eat it. Yeah.
But then you see them go to the next table and they see them lean in the same way, and you go, okay, I see what's going on.
Yeah, I didn't want his signature, but the
Is it
line
really?
was going that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, that's got to be super awkward. Oh my God, I remember. Oh, dude,
but it's
it's
super
even
fun.
like you gotta do it when you gotta try doing stand up and then doing a show when you're just starting out, and it's like host, which you usually are when you're starting out, middle, and then headliner, and then right next to them they go, I liked you best, and you're just fucking standing there like, well, fuck. And they don't even make eye contact with you. They're just like,
right.
This fucking he's got to find something else to do, and you're like, fuck.
Wow.
She's right.
Stand up has always amazed me. Amazed me. I remember I did a little movie way back. I think 1980. 1980, and I had to audition for the part of a bad stand-up comic, and so I had to think a couple of jokes, and I knew pretty sure I'd be a bad stand-up comic. But the story is that he ends up helping this unpopular, not very kind of awkward girl be popular in high school. So I did get that part, and but I got a little part on it. Like I had like 2 lines as one of the students, and the guy who did get the part was just like he sucked up all the oxygen in the room. He was just like constant. Like there was a cafe scene, and I was sort of sitting there in the cafe, and the guy who did get the big part, he's like, and I can do this with my face, and I can jump over this table, and and I thought, oh, I remember sitting. I said, what an a-hole. He's never going to do that. You know who that was?
Ooh.
Jim Carrey.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
wow.
So, I've been around a long time, long enough to know that I can't pick him. Like I auditioned for this little movie, just a small part of some business guy, and there's like a little blonde kid in the room who's just like reading really flat, and there's the dark-haired kid in the window, and the director was quite famous, and I didn't get it, but I remember thinking, God, these kids, they got nothing, Good Will Hunting. Okay.
Holy shit.
And I didn't get it. But friends of mine, were in it. But and it was just a small role. But here's the thing about the industry is that what's more important than talent is, I think, it's that kind of determination. And that's the thing that I admire about stand-ups, is that you got to have this like crazy amount of insane courage to do that. And I go,
no, it is. There's something wrong with us, each of us individually.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
there's so many times I remember when I started where like I was tenacious in a way that I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was. I started when I was 20, so like I would bomb like really badly, like during a show, and like after driving out to a gig, and then feel it, like, and you when you bomb, you feel it in your whole fucking
God.
like, and then I would go the next day and try to book like 10 more gigs, because in my crazy, I would be like, no, that can't be. I can't be that bad.
Right.
Like, I just, and then you would hit and miss and hit and miss and hit and miss. And then you kept going and then building. And then, it is such a very weird, weird thing that I would never recommend. Like when people tell me they want to do it too, like I'm always just like, oh no, don't. Like it's not like just, and now it's so, I mean, everybody says that as the years go by too, but now it's like a completely different thing. And I don't know if you felt this in the acting world, too, but like there's too much emphasis on social media where I think it crushes your art and your soul. And like, but I know that's the way. I always feel like an old guy yelling at a cloud, because that's the way the industry is going. And if you can get enough followers, it doesn't matter if you're talented or if you've got jokes or whatever. You just have people like you. So,
well, things change,
Yeah.
No, I do see that a lot. And, and you can either sort of be that old man yelling at the clouds, and I'm probably closer to that age than you are. But, I mean, it's just, it's so different, but I just always come back to what I love about the work and refocusing there, because I know the industry is going to like me one minute and not like me the next. Like 2019,
sure.
I had after 38 years as an actor, as my first series regular in one of the first Apple shows that they released, and it was a great part. I'd had to play a 30-year age range, and the writing was lovely, and I was okay, this is it. I'm here. I've all these years of struggle. And then I was booked once the season was over. I booked a bunch of other stuff. Then season 2 came around, and they didn't bring me back.
Oh God!
And I thought, how can they not? And then I didn't work at all in 2020, of course. But I, sure. And you have to go. You just never know. The industry changes, and you just have to hang in there. And every time I think, okay, that's it. I guess I should be looking into retirement. Well, what else can I do? Should I be an Uber driver, or should I dig dishes? I mean, I dug a dish beside my house when I wasn't working. I could dig ditches, and then a job will come along and go, oh no, I'm back. Okay. I guess I'm back. And then, it's insane.
Absolutely. Isn't that crazy though, when you have that feeling of like, I think I'm fucking done. I'm out of the business. Well, for whatever reason, it could be like a minuscule thing or like a huge thing that happens, but you still have that same feeling of like, it's over. I mean, it was you feel like a fraud too. I always feel like a fraud where I'm just like, everybody's bought this for far too long and they've caught on and I'm never going to do anything again. And then you get like a weird phone call, or somebody wants you to do something, or you get paid to do this crazy gig or whatever. And you're like, holy shit, I guess I'm back. And no one knows you've left or not left. For me anyway. Like, I'm like, oh, no one even noticed. So it really, but it's a weird thing to feel, man. Do you guys like, because I know that everybody's been talking about the industry and AI and stuff like that. And as a voice actor, do you feel like AI is bullshit and that you're secure in your job? Because there is a skill to what you do, obviously, and there's a technique to it, and there's a twist and an artistry that you put on it yourself as an actor. So AI obviously can't mimic that. But do you have any concerns about with the big war on that kind of shit? And
yeah, I mean, I do. I think it's that the more paranoid part of my brain would say, for years we've been encouraged to put our stuff, our content online, our voices, are doing little speeches for Instagram. And suddenly those same companies are going, oh, you know what? We have these artificial intelligences that we're going to extract everything that you've ever. And so basically it's theft, right?
Right. Yes.
Another way to say it. And, and it's not like, you worked on doing Harrison Ford's voice, and so you get to do Harrison Ford voiceovers now. Right. I mean, I've done some David Attenborough style voices. That was a fun one for commercials. Awesome. And but it's like a machine can just absorb a whole bunch of us, then spit out something else. And I used to think, oh, it's not there yet. A friend of mine who's an actor playwright, Rick Roberts, and he's on Instagram. He wrote a play about a guy who gets into an AI spacesuit and he's out in space. It's called Jelly. And he's a terrific actor, really interesting activist in the climate and stuff as well. And he just entered into ChatGPT or one of them. He entered his script into it and said, discuss. And two separate voices, a guy and a girl, sounding like radio personalities on a podcast discussing his play with ums and ahs. Wow. And, and another thing is all this kind of, and I listened to about 5 minutes of it and got more and more horrified by it because it was, and it was quite convincing. So, I don't like it. It's here. We got to do something to, I guess, protect ourselves. But I don't know if it can really do the kind of going back to that magic idea, that kind of thing where something human happens. Suddenly your heart goes into your chest and a tear bursts forward out of it that you didn't plan, or you did this ridiculous laugh, or you come up with a sound like.
But you're right. I think there's still lacks that in the moment capability of creating something. So you're right. It can mimic a bunch of shit, but it doesn't have any instinct. So it can only do exactly what you prompt it to do right now, anyway. But it's so weird. I mean, everybody I know is an actor and stuff like that is kind of like, up in arms just about, contracts now. They have to like doubly read them to make sure that they can't like scan or use their shit or whatever. And it's insane. And I don't know, like Disney like has a whole line of we don't have to talk about it too, by the way. I don't want you to get in trouble with Disney, but like, Disney just, I think, has a whole AI division now. And I just kept thinking about that for like, they have Disney employs a lot of fucking voice actors. So it's just, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Myself included.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird time too, especially with like half the industry is like the industry's dead. And then it's like, I hope that's not true. And then it's like, but other people are like working all the time too. So I don't know, I mean, comedy seems like it goes from comedy's weird, dude. It's such a weird time, obviously. I mean, you're in LA?
No, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. But my daughter's in LA, and I go down there a lot. So, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, just like we just had that election, obviously, and fucking Trump and blah blah blah, and that. Yeah, no, are you not familiar with what's going? No,
something happened.
Oh, that must be nice. Teach me how to Zen, because I'm losing my fucking mind lately.
Oh no, everybody.
But yeah. It's absolute trash. But it's as a comic, it's one of those things where like there's like this fucking cesspool of comedians now that are just very bro-y and very like, just kind of courting white supremacists and other just for so it's a real weird time to be like, is the comedy boom over? Like, is it done? And now it's just this, because all I ever wanted to do was go on stage and tour and travel and tell jokes and do whatever. And now it's like, hey, are you selling supplements or talking to Alex Jones? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do any of that shit. What the fuck are you talking about? I want to tell dick jokes. That's what I want to do. So it's just weird, man. Weird so I want to talk. So yeah, when you were younger and you were going into all this, you were telling me before you you got into mime. Did you busk at all? Were you like a street performer?
Yeah, for a little bit. I like open new shopping malls and stuff like that. And there was a restaurant that it actually cured me. It was actually the trigger for me to say, I can't do this anymore. I had like a bunch of set pieces, and I'd have these little title cards, and I'd pose with them in my little mime suit in one case. And then, do like be the tightrope walker. And I was pretty good at hanging from things and like swinging and like creating the illusion of all that. And I mean, most standard stuff. And then once I think I was paid $50 to help open this restaurant, and they wanted musicians and mimes and stuff. And I was like completely traumatized because I realized I was hated. And I couldn't get away, and I hated being there. And then, like, nobody wanted their meal interrupted with like a stupid rope pull or something. And so I kept on taking these breaks, and the restaurant people didn't want to pay me. And it was after that's when I started looking up drama schools in the UK. I thought I've got to do something more. If this is where it's going for mime, big mime is not happening to you. It's like Shields and Yarnell, Marcel, so that's not happening.
Yeah. But that stuff had to come in handy later for shit too, because it's very like oftentimes like I filled out those backstage or what do they call it, actors access shit, where it's like the list of skills you have. Everybody lies, but all yours must have been true. Can every voice, acrobatics, like mime. It's kind of like, this guy's bullshit. But that must have been awesome that you could actually do all that stuff. Mine is filled with lies. I can't do shit. I think I said I could skateboard once, and I think I fell off one once down a hill. Like, that was it. Like, I was like, I've done it. I can do it. I could ride a horse.
A little bit of that time you didn't fall. Yeah. No, I do things like take horseback. Like, I would say I want to do this, and I'd take a lesson in or two.
Nice.
I think the mime thing came in very useful because I was also an athlete in high school. Like, eventually got athletic. But it was very useful when it came to doing the performance capture for Assassin's Creed 3 12 years ago, because it's all in the performance capture, so that the way you move through space, you're like in character, it's sort of, and also the ability to imagine the space around you. Because when you do that, you're in a volume, and it's tape on the floor, and you're walking along atop a roof, and so there's like a big wide bit of tape for the roof, and there's the end of the roof. And then you have to sort of imagine. And I said, well, what am I looking at down here? Oh, there's some soldiers there. So, okay. And so then I started, but I just find it very useful because there's a lot of geography in film. Like, a lot of it is like, what are we, what angle are we at? And if I could, it just helps me, place myself in the world. Imagine,
absolutely.
And
imagine
physically.
I love those Assassin's Creed games, by the way. I played them all. So it's awesome to have you sitting here. Do you have any preference as far as like when you're choosing a video game role or a TV role or whatever, do you require anything as far as like, character description, or what are you looking for exactly when you're doing it? Because they're very different for video games and stuff. I feel like there's a lot more, like the grunting and like I remember watching something with the woman from who did the voice of the original Tomb Raider, and it was like hours upon hours in a booth doing just you have to land 4-5 different types of landing sounds, falling off a cliff. So like, you know what I mean? Like, is it like, are you looking for anything in particular when you're doing that kind of stuff?
Well, I'm a bit of a whore. I will work if they pick me. So it's
fantastic.
But it is true that the roles you're right for find you as well as you find them.
Cool.
I just look to, like, I get a script and I audition, right? And so if it's in the script, a brief description about where they're from. If they haven't decided where they're from, then I decide where they're from. Maybe throw a little something in there, I just look for something to relate to, And if I can relate to something, and if I can find a voice for them, like I play this character on Riverdale called Doug. I had the COVID hair going on. It was like longer than yours, and I had a full beard, and I just kind of like, and I put my hair in front, and I kind of found this kind of, hey, okay, yeah, sure, Jug, honey, come on, and I just did it. For me, it was like vocal and rhythmic, which then makes me feel a certain way, and then I sort of fill it with the thoughts that are in the script. I don't have a technique, but if I was to have a technique, then it would probably be vocal and physical. If I can find the vocal and physical mask, then I can inhabit it, or I can sort of pour my own imagination into it. That wasn't
Yeah.
your question, was it?
No.
So
but
what am I
that's
looking
more
for?
than
What am I looking for? Yeah.
No, that's great. No, because it's like, no, that actually does make a lot of sense too. And also it kind of leads into the next thing I want to know too. Do you prefer like acting roles as opposed to just voiceover stuff? Like if you could take one over the other, would you just rather be your physical self in a movie and go for it from there? Because you've done a lot of movies too.
Yeah, a lot of TV shows, a lot of
TV
movies.
shows and movies. Yeah.
I love the camera, but I'm starting to. I love that I can go into a session with X-Men '97 and I can be strong guy.
Yeah.
Or hey, you gotta get a buff up, kid. And
Yeah.
well, and then Nightcrawler. I get to play a little blue furry dude who bamps in and out of the world. I mean, I love it all. I don't. If you're asked, it would be Sophie's choice. I'd have to throw out one of my favorite children. But theater, I love too, and I haven't been able to do that for a while. I've raised 3 kids. So. Yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, who told you to do that? No,
I don't know. That bit was not the plan.
No, that's crazy. Right. Don't let them hear that. They're down. There's no soundproofing in the basement.
Right. They're all grown-ups now. It's amazing. It is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and
fucking great.
I managed not to kill them all.
Did they understand what you did when you were younger?
Well, I think so. It was just kind of normalized. The friend, like they're sort of weirded out by their friends. Saying your dad is a Nightcrawler, and your dad. I saw your dad in a show. Yeah, whatever.
That's great.
My eldest daughter was a child actor for a while, and she's sort of out of it now. And my middle child, Rose Hough, is an actor in Los Angeles, and she's been living down there for 3 years or so, 4 years now.
Nice.
Doing a lot of.
I only made it 2, so.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody who makes it, I'm like, good for you. I can't.
Not my favorite place, but I'm starting to like it a little bit. But it's like
if I don't spend too much time there, and I get outside of like into other areas of California, I'm pretty good. Like when I go out there for like TV shit, or if I'm going to pitch something to one of the networks or do stand up, like if I take some time in LA and then go to like Joshua Tree or whatever after a while, or like go to San Clemente, like somewhere outside of it, then I feel a little bit better. But man, like it felt like I was when I was living there, it just felt like you were always working in an outdoor office. Everybody was talking about work. Everybody was talking about script. I was always like, is this a director? Are you a director? Do I look okay? Do I sound? And I've always like, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Brooklyn. So I always look like just 58% shittier than most people that are out there. So like, I was already like, this fucking sucks, man. I look okay on the East Coast, but this is brutal.
Yeah. So, I went to a friend of mine did an indie film. And when I was there last, he's actually a young actor who came into my acting classes 20 years ago. And now he's kind of Brett Dyer. He's a really fantastic, somewhat of a star now.
Sweet.
He was in Jane the Virgin and other things. But he came to my class when I was teaching, and he was like 14 years old. And he sort of comes in and like, I think, I so did not enjoy teaching kids because I wanted to teach acting, and stuff. And it was what I was doing in between gigs. But he walked in and he got it. Where am I going with the story? Anyway, so let's move forward 20 years. And he's opening in the show, and he's so lovely in the movie. And the title's good. I've got to find the title in my head. And then afterwards, I'm sort of like, I'm there with one of the stars of the movie, and we're talking, and like the DOP came up to me, and he's this young guy because it was an indie film, and he goes, "You're giving me like director vibes," and he started naming off some like hot older directors, and I'm just like, so I have never directed in my life, but I'll take it, but that sort of thing is always going on, and it used to make me so anxious. And now I just kind of relax into it when I'm there. And I just go, I've been around a long time. You've probably seen me in something. It doesn't hurt to be in like a hit show, right? Like,
oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. when you got something like X-Men 97 or Assassin's Creed and you know a character particularly well, are you controlling over, maybe a line or something you might get where you know the character so well, you're like, I don't know that they would say this, or are you just like, hey, whatever you guys, like whatever you tell me to do?
Well, Assassin's Creed 3, they just gave me free reign. Like they gave me the script.
Oh, no
And
way.
and like it was 12 years ago, I think performance capture was relatively new. And so they were like game people, and story people. They weren't like director people. And so at a certain point I thought, okay, I'm now directing the movie in my mind. So the scene on the rooftop, I think it starts with an over me to Connor, and I'm looking out of his thing, and then I started directing it in my mind, and so I realized it was like, it took a year and a half. It's like shooting a movie. So we would go and we'd shoot a bunch of scenes. I'd go home, and there was, in between the scenes, there was no setting up the camera and all that. It was just like and you had to get a perfect take, and there's a lot of words. But I just remember having this incredible feeling of actor power in that, and that you have a lot of control over, is this a close-up moment? Is this a wide shot? And like, if you allow yourself to be informed by the script and what's going on, and so later I would look at those scenes when the cut scenes when the game came out, and I'd go, I wonder if that was a close-up, or, oh yes, look, they did the over there, and okay, I was right. I interpreted it right. I love the power and the quickness of game performance capture.
Yeah.
Because there was one day we shot 38 scenes between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. And that does not happen. That's like a month of work on a feature normally, because the cameras go on. And I just did a show where we shot one scene over 5 days. I can't tell you what it is yet because it's in top secret.
I was gonna,
and stuff.
I don't know, but
it's and that was like, and I almost said no to it, because I had all these conventions lined up I wanted to go to, and I thought I was going to interrupt them, and it didn't.
Yeah.
So everything worked out.
Oh.
And I was really glad I did. But it was like, I think I'm now doing the first part of the reaction that I shot 3 days ago, the second part of, so that we could do this stunt part, and I can't tell you any more than that. But anyway, so it was just like really like long. But with performance capture, video game acting, you're just going and going and going, and you get your performance energies get strong. And theater I love too, because theater is sheer terror. That I have the terrors still to this day. Whenever I start a new job, I just learned how to deal with them. Anyway.
Yeah, the theater thing, you're right about sheer terror. I've only ever been, I mean, this doesn't even count, I was in a high school play, but like that terrifies me more than any stand-up gig I've ever had, is just you doing a live show. Being responsible for more than just yourself is also terrifying. But like, just having to memorize lines like that, like every day. And I'm sure like after you do it once, but opening day, there's no fucking, I would lose my shit. So anytime I go to see a play, I'm just amazed that everybody's got their movement, their mark down, their, whatever. It's, I give you full props, man, because I that terrifies the shit out of me. I would be able to do it.
It's been a while. It's been a while though that I haven't done a play, but
would you like to go back to it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. It takes time. It's longer than any other process, right? It's longer than like, Yeah.
It was like when my kids were smaller, it was like, okay, kids, mac and cheese for a month. Daddy's being an artist. Daddy's doing a play.
Oh, that's great. What are you? When are you shooting? Yeah, when are you doing the second season of 97?
I can tell you. I can tell you that it is being recorded. Apparently, it's not out until like 2026.
No,
that's what they're saying now. Yeah, but I know maybe sooner, maybe later. But it's one of these things where you get, the first season's great, and then everyone wants to make sure the second season is greater.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of going back and re-recording stuff.
Right. And from the internet's perspective too, it's like, you know, they credit a lot of the first season to the dude that was fired, Brian DeMeo, and then, but I know, you know, in any show there's a collaboration, there's people that are doing all this other stuff too. So, you know, I don't know if there's like there's all these rumors just going around. They're like, you know, they're trying to get him back to do the second season, and he already did the second season, his legal stuff. And I'm like, I just think they're just trying to really make sure it's good. Like, I don't think anybody's worried about it not being good. Like, yeah. And you know what's cool too about
I'm like Schultz in Hogan's Heroes when it comes to all the politics, that stuff. I know nothing. Okay. So
yeah. No, I don't expect. It wouldn't even be It's just crazy because it's like, you know, the internet just gets carried away with all this other shit. I'm like, my favorite is James Gunn debunking everything on. I don't know if you follow James Gunn when he's doing his thing or whatever, but it's like they'll be like, James Gunn hires new, and he's like, no, I didn't. He just writes this. He's like, I don't know where they got the information. This story's fucking bullshit. We haven't even begun to write the script for this thing yet. You know, I'm like, we need more of that. What's cool is too is I want to talk to you about. They made Nightcrawler in this, you know, new show, way more playful, like his comic counterpart. Like, did you have anything to do with that? Did you like that coming into it? Like, that was very cool for them to see.
Well, I mean, I was thinking, well, I was getting all prepared for the heartless fools. They know, you know, and I'm pretty, I'm pretty okay with that. But then the first episode was like, meine Freunde, and he's like,
yeah.
And I was like, so I was, you know, and we get the script like a day or so before, and I read through it quickly just to make sure I could get all the sounds in the right orders, and the accent was there, and so the first little bit is meine Freunde, and then he has this like little speech, and you Americans so theatrical, I blame soap operas, and so I did that all sort of as one chunk, and then Meredith goes, okay, that's great. So here's what's happening. He's bamfing in and out of the scene. And so I just like done everything on the same vocal level. And I was trying to figure out how to get in. How do I get in? That was my first day going to be fired. And then she said she's bamfing out of the scene. And I suddenly knew what to do. So I physically, and like I was just like take different positions for each different line, and up here, down there, and so then, and like I think that was when I came up with that like sound, that whatever that was, it just popped out of me at the time. I went, okay, I'm in, and he's playful, and oh, isn't that great? I get to be playful. And then of course the next one is like, well, Gambit, it's nice knowing you, sort of thing. Gambit is dead. Oh no. Okay, now I'm back to being soulful and spiritual, I guess. But I mean, it's and but you know, he's got lots of layers in it. When every new script that comes up, I'm like, ooh, what's next? You know? And,
that's great to hear.
Yeah.
It's just awesome to see these guys actually work off of each other and like actually get to play and stuff like that. Because he was great in the first two episodes he was in too. But you're right, like he was very like, you know, serious and by the book, and he's got that a lot of drama going on. I mean, like, you know what, in the second episode that he was in the first series, you know, he's confronting his mother that he didn't even know. You know,
you are my mother.
Yeah.
She abandoned me as a baby. What? Okay.
Which is, by the way, do you ever think like, I mean, you know, half the time, you know, you're growing up, you're watching cartoons, what our parents watch or whatever. It's like, you know, Magilla Gorilla, but then you got this other shit that we were watching when we were younger, which is like this dude's mother abandoned him in a river. And I remember a couple times my mom just being like, what are you watching? Like X-Men, the greatest fucking TV show of all time, you know. So and I have all the comics and the action figures and shit too, so it's just like, you know, I had a Nightcrawler doll when I was a kid, action figure when I was a kid.
Really?
And some kid tried to steal. Oh yeah, I still have it. He's hanging up in my room. I was gonna get him down, but he's hanging upside down from my bookshelf in my bedroom. But
with all the knees pointing out. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The bendable tail and shit with a sword in it. But yeah, this kid tried to take him from me when I was a kid in a grocery store. And I was like, I will fucking beat you to death. It was like a thing.
It was awesome.
Exactly, man.
Oh my God.
Dude, I want to thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I'm going to ask you the last 3 questions that I ask every guest that's been on the show. So first question is, if you can go back in time and talk to your younger self, what piece of advice would you give yourself that would help you today?
Don't be afraid. Hang in there.
Nice. Were you like a nervous kid?
Yeah, I was very shy, very sensitive.
Yeah, I was a sensitive little child.
Sorry, so pretentious. But I was terrified that this thing I really wanted to do, which was acting, I was terrified that I would never get a chance, and I just insanely stuck with it. And then chances arrived as I prepared myself. Anyway, so yes, stick with it. Focus on getting good. I'd say that.
Sweet. Second question is, what had to end in your life, good or bad, that led you to where you are today?
My marriage. I was sitting there right there, and now I'm saying it publicly. I mean, we're great friends to this day. But so there was a dynamic that was I was using as an excuse to hold myself back, because right after that I got Assassin's Creed, and which kind of launched a whole new era of something.
Right.
I don't know. I guess, yeah. I mean, everything has to end. My stay in England had to end. You know, I stayed there for 10 years.
How long were you there?
10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I came back and I looked at New York and I looked at Los Angeles, and I went, I was going to go visit my parents for a while in Toronto. And then I was in Toronto. But Toronto's like one of these, it's a vortex. It's like, no, this is the center of the universe, eh? And you have to stay here. We're not going to treat you very well as an artist, but you have to stay here.
Right.
Yeah. I'm all over the place here. So what's the
That's it. No. I love that, because you're hitting all the points in my ADD brain too. So I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I could just sit here. Sometimes I'm forgetting I'm interviewing. I'm like, I can watch him all day long. No, that's cool about the Toronto thing, which is kind of like a flip of what I feel like people in Canada usually do, which is like they're just trying to get to the States. And then you were like, no, I'm going to go to England and spend 10 years there, and then fuck New York and LA. I'm just going to go live back in Toronto, which is cool, because I feel like Toronto, like there's so many good art that comes out of Canada in general anyway.
Sure.
Like I think half of this, I was thinking about it the other day, I swear to God, I think half of the guests on this show must be Canadian, or like there's just like a swing of comedians and actors and shit like that all out of Canada on this that I just don't know.
Even to be Colin Mockery.
Oh yeah, Colin's a good friend. Colin, we became good friends because he did this show.
Oh wow.
And he's done my benefit show. I have an MS benefit that I do every year, where I stay awake for 24 hours for the National MS Society to raise a bunch of money. And Colin has done it every year, and he stays on for like 6 fucking hours, which is just, you know, like the first time he did it, he stayed on for a really long time, and I was like, oh my God, does he feel like he can't leave? Because it's all virtual, it's like this. So I was like, oh, maybe he thinks he can't leave, and I just texted him and I was like, anytime you want to go. And he goes, I have no place to be. So I was like, this is great. And then last year he left, and then Stephen Page was on, and he started giving, like Colin was on for like a good 3-4 hours, and then Stephen Page came on later the next day, and he was giving him shit, just like roasting him in the comments. And I texted him like, do you want to come back in? And he's like, if you want. And I was like, yeah. So then he came back in again and stayed even longer. And it was like, and now it's become this weird competition with like the guests that I have on, where they're like, who stayed on the longest? Yeah, all right, I'm into this.
If you ever,
if you want to come on this year, man, that would be fantastic. We do it every year. So we do it in March. So it's either in the early March or late or towards the end. But March is National MS Awareness Month. Okay. So we raise a shit ton of money. Last year we raised over like 10K, and I'm going to try to do more this year and stuff. Awesome. But yeah, everybody, it's just mostly I think people wait to see if I'm going to drop dead at the end of it, because it's not 24 hours. I was up for 36 hours straight last time, because I'm like making calls and like trying to, and I didn't get to nap. So it was me and my one of my best friends who was producing it and working everything with me. But it was like,
Awesome.
at one point I texted him. I go, we have this giant screen too, because right now I'm at my desk, but I have like a big TV screen that we project everything onto, so I can like sit there and like a nice setup. But at one point I was like, are people popping out of the screen to you? It was like hour 16. And I was just like, I'm losing it. It's just like, nope, yep, happening to me too. I'm like, all right, just making sure everything's fine. But anyway, yeah, it's a blast. Sorry, that was a long. See, I feel like we get along.
I get you. Colin is one of these people that several of my friends know quite well, and I've never met, but I've always gone.
Oh, no way!
But Canadians have this thing, which is like, oh, he's Canadian, Ryan Gosling, he's Canadian. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, he's Canadian.
Yeah.
It's like, but of course, everyone is.
You guys have the same kind of vibe where I feel like I could stay with each of you for a week and it'd be okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I got spare rooms up here, man. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I've never been. I really should go to Canada. I've just never. I don't know why I've never been to Canada, but comedically, I would love to go to Yuck Yucks and all those places that everybody talks about. But yeah, Colin's good. Do you know Ron James?
I've met him a couple of times. Yeah, I do know who he is.
Yeah, Ron's great. He's a good friend too. And who the hell else has been on? That's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
Craig Northey. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, Ron's definitely Canadian now.
Oh yeah.
Ron FaceTimed me accidentally during a blizzard, and he was just like, he didn't mean to. He was texting me, but he hit the button, and I saw his face in like whatever like a parka thing, and I was just like, Ron. It was December. I was like, Ron, and he's like, John, how you doing? Like, why are you outside? He's like, I'm walking to a gig. I was just like, okay. It was crazy. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So anyway, last question ties into the theme of the show, Dystopia Tonight. So if you wake up tomorrow and you find out you got 24 hours left to live, everybody's last day on Earth, what do you think would have caused it? And you get your choice of comet, aliens, zombies, political collapse, climate change, or, and what's your epic death? How are you going to go out?
I got my money on comet. Actually, sometimes I think when I see I'm very into saving the environment, and I focused recently on the old growth forest in British Columbia or Vancouver Island, where I live.
Nice.
And we're just like, they're still cutting down 1,000-year-old trees, and they just did a partial core on a tree and found that this is one tree which is 4,068 years old. Wow. And I go, how can we as a species, I can see us destroying, like unraveling the web of life, the biodiversity. There's such biodiversity in those forests, which now we've lost 98% of. Cut down and replanted. We're replanting trees, but you cannot replant it anyway. So I think
I hear you.
We're going to burn up, but I have my happy money on the asteroid, because I would love to see that. If I were to have my druthers, I would just watch that. Okay, wow, that's what it looks and gone. A little Mark Maron.
Beautiful, man. Yeah. So
but true. I think the way we are going to go is that it's going to be collapse of civilization, which will be a good thing for the planet, but a bad thing for us.
Yep. Yeah, I love it, man. That's very Vonnegut.
I think about it a lot. I wish I didn't, but I do.
Me too. No, I absolutely think about it too. What's worse is like, with the advent of AI and them saying how much nuclear power it takes to run these fucking AI machines and all that other shit, plus Bitcoin, or crypto, I guess it's called. Bitcoin's just one advent of it, crypto. And then now these fucking clowns running America. Like, I'm just like, if it's going to happen, can you speed it the fuck up? Because I can't, like, I thought we'd all be wearing same uniforms shit, or like, be fighting a thing. This is a slow drag. This is I'm like, fucking wrap it up, guys. If it's going to kill me, let it do it already. Jesus Christ.
My dad was a bird watcher, and he used to take us bird watching in the, let's say the early 70s. Let's say that. And in downtown Toronto, you could go into like this little forest walk and you would see scarlet tanagers, Baltimore Orioles, plovers, killdeer, and and he built a park later in this that actually has all those things still in it. But now you go into the city, you don't see bluebirds, you don't see any of those scarlet tanagers. You see like the occasional like red bird, occasional, but that in my lifetime I have seen, driving up to the cottage and the bug splatter to no bug splatter, and so I'm sort of aware, like I have this timeline awareness. So when you say that sort of slow, and so your generation is different from the next generation. Like my kids don't know bug splatters, no,
absolutely.
You kids, you're lucky.
Yeah, no idea what it's like. I just scrape the windows clean.
Which is probably the worst example to express to somebody that we need to fix the climate. Like, you're missing out on bug splatter, and they're like, all right. No, I know. It is crazy to think about. My friends are having kids now, and they're super young and whatever, and like they all do this thing where they're like my friend just texted me after the election too, and she was like, I'm so glad I brought a baby girl into the world. And I'm like, at least you're one of the good parents. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy you did, at least, because at least I know, you're going to raise them to be a decent human being, because you never know, like it's just terrible. There's a lot of the youth. I hate saying the youth, but I'm old now, so that's fine. But they're just flocking toward these Andrew Tate, and Rogan dudes or whatever. And I'm just like, it's fucking disheartening to see it. But, maybe I just need to get off the internet for a bit and go hug a tree or some shit, Like, maybe that'll be,
away from the
thanks so much. Can I ask you, and you don't have to do this, but can I ask you one thing? Would you want to say something as Nightcrawler, like watch Dystopia or whatever, like off the cuff? Like, would you mind doing that?
Sure.
Thanks.
Hello, this is Kurt Wagner, the Nightcrawler, and this is Dystopia Tonight with John Pavermo. So I didn't see the script in advance. So should I try that again? Should we take two?
No, that was great. That's hilarious. You nailed it. Pavermo, yeah, that is fucking great, man. Awesome. Thank you so much, dude. I'm gonna come back whenever you want, whenever you got something going on. If you want to, I know you can't talk about it because the NDA thing, but more than welcome to come back and plug the new show. And
there's a lot of fun. To be honest, I was podcasted out, and I went, I'm gonna do this one. It's just on a hunch, and this is super fun. So thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Dystopia Tonight.